So the first tool that I want to talk about today is called PromptPal. And even though I've been using ChatGPT for months, I didn't really understand the power of writing much more intricate, story-driven prompts. The kind of prompts where you get very specific about what you're asking ChatGPT to be before it responds to you. And then also making sure that that response fits within some parameters that make it very specific. And it wasn't until I came across this website where I first started learning about how other people were prompting it and how much better some of the results could be. Like, to be honest, when I saw people being like, I'm a prompt engineer, I was like, yeah, I type into it, I'm a prompt engineer too, bro. So I have no affiliation with PromptPal, so it could be any place where you want to go find people who are prompting it, probably on Twitter or just asking your friends or just making sure you experiment a lot with yourself. Reddit is a great place to find stuff like this. But the benefit here is that you're getting the power of a community and they're categorized. So for an example, we'll start with like an educational AI prompt. So before, I would go to ChatGPT and type in something like engaging activities for teaching the concept of Greek mythology. But once I saw prompts like this, it made me think about just how to restrict it to get more value out of the prompt. And the big takeaway from looking through dozens of these now is that you often will start by telling ChatGPT to restrict its thinking into what kind of person it is so that it knows how to respond. And then you tell it a little bit about yourself. For example, if you're a teacher, like what grade you're teaching and how many kids are in your class and like what they're studying. And then give it specific tasks that it should achieve with requirements, and then give it a final deliverable at the end. I'm going to show you how to get more out of ChatGPT. And in this example, I'm going to generate fun thumbnail titles for YouTube, but this can apply to all sorts of different genres and needs. So PromptPal is kind of like the Yelp of prompting. You just tell it what kind of category you're looking for, it gives you the top responses. Now I am attempting, so far unsuccessfully, hit that subscribe button to become a YouTuber. So let's see what it's got for us. And a lot of these are super useful, like video ideas, creating video scripts, writing video descriptions. The one I've been using the most is called crafting engaging YouTube video titles. So this prompt, pretty long, but you can see the parts that you're supposed to customize. It starts by telling ChatGPT to imagine it's an experienced content creator. I then plug in my profile details so I can narrow it down to my genre, my competitors, and the topics I want to talk about. And the most important thing that this prompt added that I never was asking for before was little things like optimizing the length, making sure there's an emotional trigger, ensuring that there's clear messaging. I just used to say, give me a title that's really fun and catchy and make it in a conversational tone. This is giving me much better results, and even cooler, it has its own explanations for why it came up with them. Like, the titles and the thinking behind them is actually really clever, and I'm pretty sure that if I was paying somebody to help me with my titles and this is the kind of document they provided, I would feel like I was getting my money's worth. Of course, it's not a real person and it can't really understand what I want out of the world, but AI Drone Revolution, 7 mind-blowing use cases, it's pretty good. And especially knowing that the upcoming videos I have are all about how to program using natural language and how to use the new ChatGPT plugins to do all sorts of different things, I do think it's time that we start kind of reinventing the way that we think about Google keywords and natural conversation and find something in between, which is really prompt engineering. Now, the next product that I want to talk about was just released by Microsoft, and it's going to make a big difference in the lives of engineers and software developers. It's called GitHub CoPilot X, and it is powered by GPT-4. That's right, the most advanced large language artificial intelligence the planet has ever known can now help you center a div. So engineers that have been working with previous versions of CoPilot have been all over the place. Some of them find it to be a godsend, others think it's not worth the time. But when you look at the improvements that upgrading it to GPT-4 had, there's no doubt that we're inching closer and closer to something that is not only super useful, is actually able to bridge the barrier between what entrepreneurs want and the code that they need to write without even bringing the engineer into the picture. Now, some early research that was actually done by GitHub showed that developers are pretty happy with the assistance that they've been getting. In fact, 96% say that they're faster when it comes to repetitive tasks, and 88% of developers feel like they're more productive when they have this Copilot at their side. So in the past, when I was programming something, what I really spent a lot of my time doing was actually tracking down what I needed in the documentation. Now that might speak more to my skill level on the project at the time, but all programmers spend quite a bit of time, especially when they're starting to push the boundaries of their knowledge in the documentation process. And switching from your IDE over to a web browser to find the documentation you want, that's not only not effective, that's called context switching, and it's hard for your brain to actually get in that flow state where you really need to be to think deeply about what you are creating. Also, there's always going to be a bug in your code that's new to you that somebody else has seen before, and that's one of the beauties of having a large language model like this that's trained on all of the software that's ever been uploaded to GitHub. New extensions and functions were thought through very deeply in some community, and when you go to implement them, you're missing out on all of the knowledge they had, but this brings us closer to that reality. In fact, a 2022 Stack Overflow developer survey showed that 63% of developers spend more than 30 minutes a day looking through documentation to solve a problem. In another survey, GitHub asked 95 web developers to build a web server in JavaScript, and it gave 45 of them GitHub CoPilot. On average, the 45 that had CoPilot by their side finished the task 55% faster. Now, the next tool I want to talk to you about is an amazing vertical called Estimators. Now, in this case, I'm talking more about how impressed I am with the thought of building this product than I am about the execution of it. It's not a particularly useful product yet, but if you think about what this means for the future and how different this kind of thing will be with large language models powering software, it's a real mind bender. I can't think of a better business than building an online estimator based on one of these large language models, because it's literally lead generation, which is of extreme value to people who need those lead generations, especially big ones like houses and lawyers and these really big expenses where a lead can mean a lot to the bottom line of some company and they're willing to pay for that. And it's really useful for somebody who wants an estimate. This is a tool where you could go in and say, hey, how much would it cost to change my car in some way, or change my house in some way, or how much would it cost to sue somebody if I feel like I've been wronged? Then it can go in and say, I've seen a lot of examples that are similar to this. Here's all the reasons why I think that it would cost about this much, and here's my estimate. Fast and convenient, customized, valuable for both ends of the deal, and a business that can be built much easier with ChatGPT plugins. I think this one is a game changer. Now let me show you a website called estimate.agency. Now, there's no human that's actually putting in these estimates. This is a large language model similar to ChatGPT. So when you're clicking on some of these options, like let's say a website, for example, you're essentially starting a conversation with ChatGPT saying, hey, I'm looking for an estimate for a website. Then adding additional information that's just been pre-thought out, almost like the prompting website that I showed you before. So a question like, do you want a one-page landing site or a multi-page site? When you say, I'll take a single landing page, you're helping bring down the estimate. I'll take 5 to 10 blocks of information. I want them to make a purchase. I don't need a WYSIWYG. I don't need to make new updates to elements. I don't need to customize the navigation. Definitely want light and dark themes, very important. I want it in multiple languages, and I want to integrate it with marketing emails. So you put in your email address, and boom, artificial intelligence large language model has put together something like ChatGPT would give you. There you go. You've got your lead generation, they collected your email, I've got the service that I wanted. Awesome business. I want to tell you about a tool called SciSpace. Now, the goal of a tool like this is to help scientists speed up scientific breakthroughs. It uses artificial intelligence to both summarize and simplify the complex information that they're trying to look through. And now that large language models like ChatGPT are being applied to these huge research databases, this kind of thing is really exciting. And what I mean by that is it's cool because it can actually summarize lots of information. It can synthesize it and customize it to me, so that if I'm actually trying to learn about something to make progress on my goals, it can bring me the piece that I need to take the next step. So this platform, SciSpace, was actually in 2015 something called Typeset. So it started as a research formatting tool and then later evolved into a full research platform that's now used by millions of people. And the rebrand was meant to kind of redesign how scientists actually collaborated with one another. But now, with artificial intelligence plugged into the mix, it's really become something different than it has before, so check it out. So I want to show you Typeset.io, also called SciSpace. SciSpace is an evolution of the original website, and now it has artificial intelligence plugged into it, and it can do some really cool things. So research anything that you want, but today we'll start with something I'm passionate about.
The microbiome.
Here we are researching microbiology of systematic fungal infections,
Biology of systematic fungal infections.
Okay, yeah, you get the kind of the gist. It's complicated. Look at how cool this is. Okay, abstract is probably pretty easy to read, but let's find something that seems really tough, like this paragraph, true pathogenic fungi. So you can highlight text like this and simply summarize it. So we have a version over here that's not as detailed as the main text, which is probably not what we'd want to cite or use if we're going to like reproduce the experiment or anything. But for 99% of us that are just trying to get the gist of where the science is going, this kind of summary can be super helpful. This is going to be really powerful stuff.